Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. Again, just want to give you guys your Monday content before I go about my daily day and all of that. Hope your Monday morning has been great. So early so far. Hope your weekend was wonderful. You had a peace of mind. You ate some good food. You spent some time with the family. All of those great stuff. So we're just here to unpack this content, rather. So we are gonna shout, pull up in the YouTube. Where is my audience? Pull up in the YouTube. Here's your content. Pull up in the audience. Where it is my subscribers. Pull up in the audience. I don't watch nobody. Pull up in the YouTube. Come and get your content. Pull up in the YouTube, make sure you like. Pull up in the YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Pull up in the YouTube, make sure you share. So pull up in the YouTube with our next bad content. Anyways, guys, so let's get to this. Over the years, we go to school, we go to work, we go into public spaces, and we see people have the right to pray in the public. Prayer is good at one point. Prayer used to be sacred. Prayer used to be between you and God in your home, at church, and the list go on. The government opened the door for all of these people to pray in public. A lot of times you're at work. When you take your break, you can't take any more break because there's a prayer room somewhere somewhere in your workplace. Not only that, when you hide, most of the time, it's Allah, 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 Allah meat, Allah meat, halal meat, halal meat, halal meat, halal meat, halal meat. So a lot of people want to push their religion on the public, knowing that the public has a right of their religion. So if you're praying in public and I'm not praying in public, do you think that's fair for me? Or do you think it's fair for everybody? I don't think so. So Bill 9 came and tabled a couple days ago, no more prayer in the public. No more halal meat everywhere else when everybody else don't eat halal meat. So let's get there quick and fast. Quebec new secularism bill targets daycare, workers, prayer space, and religious meals. Okay? The Quebec government wants to limit on praying in public and extend a ban on wearing religious symbols to daycare workers as part of a sweeping new secularism bill tabled Thursday. Bill 9, titled an act respecting the reinforcement in Quebec, sets out to build on two previous laws passed under Premier Franco Legault. Minister responsible for the secularism said the bill is part of a government long-standing goal of ensuring that the religion neutrality of the state and equality for all citizens. Like I said, it's not fair for you to be praying and everybody's watching. That's crazy to me. We think that when the state is neutral, Quebecers are free, Roberts said at the news conference. Thursday, Roberts rejected a suggestion from a reporter that religious minorities were unfairly targeted with Bill 9. Okay? We have the same rules applying to everyone, he said. All right? Banning subsidized daycare and private school workers from wearing religious symbols such as a hijab, a kippah, with a clause exempting those already in their position. Prohibiting public institutions such as hospitals from only offering food based on religious traditions such as halal or kosher meal, Roberts said other meals would need to be offered as well. Phasing out public subsidized for religious private school that select student and staff based off religious affiliation or that teach religion content. This would be done over a period of 3 years. Yes? Banning prayers, spaces in public institutions, including universities, as well as group prayers in public spaces such as parks without municipal authorization. Universities are not a temple or church, Rivers says. I could agree. It's so disturbing that you'll be out in the public and you're there praying in someone else's spaces. Everybody else in the public don't have your religion, don't have the same religion as these people. And every day they're out here praying and you'll be like, okay, all right, okay, right? Expanding the requirement to have an uncovered face at all times to anyone present in a public education setting. The bill also invokes the notwithstanding clause, preemptively shielding from challenges under the Canadian Charter Rights and Freedom. All right? So no more praying. No more praying in public. No more praying in the public, people. Not at all. With measures that include ban and some forms of public prayer and wearing of religious symbols by daycare workers, Quebec Bill 9 would have significant effects on many institutions and the people who frequent or work in them, including universities. The legislation is the latest tabled by Legat Collision, Quebec government. 1 second. Which has been slumming in opinion polls ahead of next year's provincial election. In October, the government adopted a law banning religious symbols worn by any school employee who interacts with students. Jaja. The law was itself an expansion of 2019 law known as Bill 21 that banned religious symbols worn by public employees deemed to be the position of authority, including teachers, judges, and police officers. The government also passed a bill earlier this year requiring immigrants to embrace the common culture of the province. Judge of God. That's so disturbing and troubling for me, guys, because, listen, you come to a country that they already have what they have. You can't come to the country and enforce your culture and your religion on in somebody else's culture that has their only culture already. Like, for example, they will shout like Canadian people don't have any culture, right? Other people have culture, but you cannot come and bring your culture in the public and want everybody else to accept it, and you're not accepting how their country already run. It's wrong. Yes? So right now, the government also passed a bill earlier this year requiring immigrants to embrace the common culture of the province. So if you come to Canada, you gotta act like a Canadian the last time we checked, right? The Parti Québécois, which been leading in the polls for 2 years, has been calling for the government to reinforce its secularism laws on Thursday. PQ leader Paul said Bill 9 was not well thought out, but he agreed with the overall goal. Yes? It's very legitimate subject. It's a it's alleged. A very alleged subject, and I think social peace will be better served by putting limits to what religion can dictate to others, he said at the news conference. Bill 9 was criticized by religious groups and civil liberties advocates even before it was tabled. An attack on minorities for politician gain. I don't think so. Stephen Brown, president of the National Council of Canadian Muslim. Yeah, you guys are always out here, man. Jesus Christ. Said it amounts to political opportunities and serve as a distraction from other pressing issues, including conflict with the province doctors and the shortage of affordable housing. Unfortunately, once again, the same group of minorities that are serving as a foil, he said. In a statement assembled of Catholic Bishop Quebec said the proposed bill would be a radical infringement of the rights and freedom of Quebec population, and that the government has not demonstrated the need for such legislation. The new rules for daycares would be target Muslim women and make it harder for her to find workers, said Maria English, executive director of the public daycare with 5 locations and more than 300 children. You could hire other people who don't wear those things, the way I see it. Religious symbols does not determine how you will be with the children. So it will take away some very educators, English said. Mohammed Benzada, computer engineer student at the Mikkel University and a member of the Muslim Student Association, said he uses a prayer room on campus on a daily basis. He concerned he could lose that access if the legislation passed. No more prayer rooms. We're tired of it. It does help with my studies, he said, with exams, with classes. You feel overwhelmed. And every time I go to the prayer room, I do prayers. I get outside and I am fresh to go back and study and give more to my community. So what about everybody else? If you're leaving class, wait a minute, watch this. If you're doing exams and you feel overwhelmed, the whole world feel overwhelmed. I remember going to college and I was overwhelmed. Back in the days, in my college days, it's lots of books. You have so much books in your backpack and even some in your hand and you're overwhelmed. Running to one class to the next. Essays on top of essays. Right? And you're overwhelmed. All you have to do is take a break and go right back in class, right? 1 second. So for you to be in class with everybody in class and you just leave to go and pray, it's unfair for everybody else because sometimes your prayer is not 1 minute and 2 minutes. When somebody can ask to go to the washroom and go pee and take a break and come back, your prayer is maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. So it's not fair. Why should you get more time in class because you need to go pray because you're overwhelmed? Those things are not fair to the public, right? Prayer is supposed to be inside in your home, in your temple. The last time I checked, right? Early this year, Christine Pelchat, co-author Government Commission, reported, looking at the way to strengthen the Province Bill 9, follows through several recommendations, including ban and religious symbols among subsidized daycare workers. In an interview, Pelchat said that the laws are part of a long-running effort to separate religion from the state, rooting in the break with the Catholic Church during Quebec Quiet Revolution. This is something, my fellow people, friends, they don't always get that, she said. So, Benjamin Single, the reporter based in Montreal, covering social issues and Quebec politics. All right? So at the end of the day, guys, what do you guys think? You think it's fair for people to be always praying in public? You think it's fair that you should have a prayer room at work and you don't if you're a regular Canadian? Or do you think it's okay for them to go and pray while you're sitting down doing your own thing? All right? So let's unpack the audio. Okay, guys?
Final.
1 second, 1 second.
About secularism.
We think that when the state is neutral, Quebecers are free.
Bill 9 adds to a similar law passed in 2019. It banned public employees in positions of authority like teachers from wearing religious symbols. Now the ban extends to subsidized daycares and private schools. I don't understand why we're here. Daycare director Maria English feels the law mostly targets women who wear hijabs, many of whom work in the daycare system. The grandfather clause means those already working won't be affected. English says the government is tackling a problem that doesn't exist. A religious symbol is not determine how you will be with the children, so it will take away some very nurturing educators. The new law will fine groups up to $1,125 if they pray in public.
Don't blame them.
Rooms in public institutions like universities will also be banned, causing distress for some.
Exactly.
The university has multiple services for the well-being of its students, and the prayer room is...
So the way I see it, you're not supposed to have a prayer room in university because every regular student don't have that. University and college is college. If you feel overwhelmed, stay in your yard. The last time I checked. Why every minute you're in class and everybody's doing their studies and you get to leave to go and pray? What about the other students? It's not fair. And why should you guys come in a country that don't pray in public and you guys come and bring the religion and pray in public? It's crazy to me. All right? So no more prayer in the public. No more praying in universities. No more praying in the workplace. Why should, okay, in a workplace you get breaks. You go and smoke a cigarette if you're a smoker. You go to the washroom, you take your 15 minutes break. You take your lunch, yada, yada, yada. Why should you be leaving from your post or your work office or wherever you work to just go and pray? It's not fair. That means you get more than one break. It's not fair for everybody else. All right? If you live in a foreign country, first world country that don't pray in public, you should adopt. Why should we adapt to your religion? Religion is supposed to be in your house and in your temple, not praying on everybody, not in the public space on everybody. Not being racist, I'm just saying. I just feel like if you have to go and pray every minute, that's supposed to be in your household. Why should you leave class to go and pray because you want to pray? Why should you put down a mat in public and praying and everybody's passing? Why should you be at work and you have to leave to go and pray? To me, it's crazy, but nevertheless.
Is one of those services.
Supporters of the law say the drive for religious neutrality stems from the 1960s, when Quebec society began to break ties with the Catholic Church.
It is important to have this framework to work together in order for us to protect some values like the separation between the church and the state.
But critics say the government has a distorted view of secularism.
An unprecedented assault on fundamental freedoms, including freedom of religion, expression, peaceful assembly, and equality.
The province will use the notwithstanding clause to...
How can they infringe our freedom of religion? Well, we're not saying that don't practice the religion. We're saying that we don't want it in the public space because everybody has a right. So what about our right? We don't have the regular public that don't pray in the public. We don't have a right. You got to have rights for everybody, just not the Muslim people, right? We're going to be mindful. You cannot bring your religion and pour it on everybody and think it's okay. No praying in the public space, but praying in your home and your temple is fine.
To override sections of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, leaving few alternatives for Quebecers who fear they're losing their rights. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
So the way I see it, guys, to be honest, the bill is a little bit harsh, but what can you do and say, guys, right?
Final.
Right? What can you say? I believe it's the way how these people overdo it every minute with the prayers. I think that's why that bill come in. And if you know Quebec just wants to be Canadian. Quebec is not into any other things. All right? Because if you go to a Muslim country, you have to act within yourself. You have to be careful. You can't bring your Canadian ways there. There's many Muslim countries that you go to and you'll be locked up even to shout in public. So why is it that some of these Muslim countries have those kind of rules, but it's not okay for Canadians to have that kind of rule that you can't pray in public? To me, it's crazy to me, but what can I say? But anyways, let's get to that bill.
Final.
Okay. Let's get to that bill, guys. 1 second.
Okay, let's watch this clip on Bill 9 and see how some people are even calling.
A new bill on secularism. Bill 9 covers bans on public prayers, on face coverings in daycares and in colleges and universities for both students and educators. It also prohibits public institutions like hospitals from only offering halal or kosher foods.
More secularism and more laïcité. Because we think that when the state is neutral, Quebecers are free.
That's it.
Okay, so he's just saying,
All right.
Let's make it neutral.
So it should be neutral.
University prayer rooms, including this one at Concordia University. It first opened in the 1970s, and students say it is a safe space.
Is them trying to figure out to fix a problem of extremism, which is, as Quebecers, we're all against it. There's no question asked about that. But is removing such places that haven't caused any harms fixing any of these problems? I don't think so. Well, it's rather creating more problems for the communities that are using them.
I'm not sure it's creating more
I
problems.
don't think it's
I mean, I
creating
get
any
it,
more
but
problems.
the bill
Okay,
is
I
talking.
just feel like
Under the law.
We have the same rules applying to everyone,
yep.
to every school, to every people, to men, to women.
Still, critics say that
Okay, so
a ban on these prayer rooms to a ban on collective prayers on streets and parks without authorization of the municipality. Other religious groups, too, have called it a radical infringement on the rights and freedoms of Quebecers. The bill evokes a notwithstanding clause to shield it from any potential charter challenges. It will be voted on over the next few months. Sandy.
All right.
okay,
So no more
again,
praying,
they're
no
talking
more
about
prayer
just
in public, and I could agree. I am not sure why people continue to pray in public. Back in the days, you will see people sit down and ready to eat their food, black people, and they will pray over their food. Okay? When I eat my dinner, when I eat anything, I usually pray over it because you always have to give God thanks. All right? But for you to be every minute, you have to go to the prayer room. And you're supposed to be able to have a prayer room because it's your religion. It's crazy to me. All right? For people to be wearing hijab. And when they wear their hijab, guys, the hijab cover all their face. You can't even see who they are and identify who they are. It's wrong. Because if somebody come in a store and cover up with a hijab or cover up in public in hijab and you don't know what they look like and they do something, how can you identify them? So what the government is saying, no more praying in public spaces. You're at the park, you take it over, you're praying. You're at the park, you're walking from one field to the next, praying, one field to the next. What about everybody else at the park? I see it for myself firsthand. You're walking your dog and these people are up one end to the next, praying, one end to the next. We're not saying you can't practice your religion, but practice that in your home, in your temple. Why does someone that don't have that religion should come in public and see you guys doing all of that? Why should we be sitting at the park with our children and you're walking from one end to the next, meditating and chanting and praying and all of that? That's not cool. And why is it that everybody go to university who's in university at the time, going to university stressed out no heck or college and they're stressed out, need a 5 minutes break, and every minute you're allowed to leave, I am going to the prayer room. That's not fair. And if you're working at a workplace and you have 8 hour shift and you have your break, your lunch and your break, why should you be taking more break because you want to go pray? You're going to the prayer room. So the way I see it, you're not even working a full 8 hour shift because every minute you're going to go and pray. So it's not fair. And if you're dealing with children and dealing in a public space, whether it's police, hospital, or daycare, why should you cover all your face? For what? We need to see your face. Remember back in the days, Rastaman is the first one that come out with turbans. And when they're coming through airport, they have to take off those turban and they do them the most. And Rasta and Rastafarian is a religion, right? And when they get to the airport, they get a shakedown. Take off your turban. You guys are not allowed to touch. Nobody's allowed to touch your turban when you're coming through the airport. So it's wrong. It's really wrong. Because Rastafarian have to take off their turban. And you guys are coming to the airport and you guys don't have to take off your turban. So are we really have rights of religion? Do we all have rights when it comes to religion? Because Rastafarian is a religion way before we heard about the Muslim religion. Right? Catholic people are out here. You don't see nobody in a Catholic school at times kneeling down in the park praying. Right? You don't see no other religion in the park praying other than the Muslims. All right? So if you come to a first world country, you got to adapt to their community. We're not supposed to be adapting to your culture. This is not a Muslim country. So I'm not being racist. I just think it's all fair. No hijab in public spaces and cover up your damn face. The last time I checked. And not only that, no praying in a public space. Because regular people are not praying in a public space. It's called a public space. Everybody have a right of freedom. So I could agree. It sounds racist, but I agree totally. Why are you leaving the sacred part of your house to come to the park and pray? Why when you're in school, every minute you have to get up and pray? Why, when you're at work, every minute you have to get up and go to the prayer room? Why? So you're supposed to have rights more than everybody else? I don't think so. Not only that, why should everywhere you go, it's halal, 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 halal meat? Why? So at the end of the day, the government is saying, hell no, we don't want this, not at all. All right? So there's a mixed reaction for this bill, and we're going to tackle it.
Neutral for
all right?
everybody. And I think this is the
Let's go there.
Canada that I grew up in, certainly. And I'm glad that they're talking about bringing it
Okay.
back, because like that's absolutely crazy. You saw a clip a second ago,
Right?
with the people praying in the middle
And they're praying in the middle of the road, guys, and it's not a good look, right?
of the street. They're just talking about you can't do that without permission.
Yep,
And
you
I think
can't.
I would call that fairly reasonable.
Okay? So you're not supposed to be out here in the public, guys, praying. All right? A lot of people, when they're going to eat their food, they pray. Right? 1 second. So that's the Bill 9 that just passed, guys. And now there's no more prayers in public. If you're going to wear your hijab, you got to show your face. You just can't out here cover your damn face like a ninja, the way I see it. Okay? That's the way I see it. But who am I to say? All right? Who am I to say? So 1 second. So there's a mixed reaction to the Bill 9. And everybody's saying basically that they're targeting Muslim women, which is not. Okay? I don't think so. All right? 1 second. Oh, 1 second. All right. So basically there's a ban, guys. All right. Let me find it for you guys. 1 second, 1 second. So no more prayers in Quebec. All right. People will say that it's racist, but to me, it's a good look. We're tired of some of these religion that just come poured on people and don't have no respect for nobody else, the way I see it. Okay. So let's get there.
Imagine
1
the
second.
merging of trusted intelligence.
Has tabled a new bill today that will expand the province's secularism rules. It's legislation that the government insists will strengthen religious neutrality. The CBC's National Assembly correspondent Cathy Sine tells us what's included in it.
It includes a ban on public prayers unless the municipality has given its authorization, a ban on religious symbols for educators working in public and subsidized daycares, a ban on prayer spaces in CEGEPs and universities, and banning higher education students from covering their faces in classrooms. And that's the same thing for children going in subsidized daycares as well. A ban on
Look at this in the public
of religious symbols in communications or advertising by public institutions, a ban on public institutions offering exclusively religious-based menus, an end to public funding of private schools that select students based on religion if the private institution is teaching religion and not following the school curriculum, a ban on religious symbols for all workers in private schools. I have to tell you that there was also Bill 94 that became a law this fall. that reinforced secularism in public schools, in banning employees interacting with children from wearing religious symbols.
I agree.
For this bill, as it was a case for Bill 21 on secularism, the Legault government will use the notwithstanding clause to basically protect its new law from court challenges.
Of course.
The CBC's Cathy Sine in Quebec City.
So not only that the law dropped, but you can't go to court and challenge that law. I can't applaud the government any faster or even anymore. Why should you be praying in public spaces? Why should I be walking and you're sitting down there, right there, praying? Why should I go to the park with my dog or my kids and you're walking from one field to the next praying? Why? Why should everybody show their face out here? Remember back in the days when black people used to wear ski masks, anything on their face, you hear that they're robbers and they're going to steal and they're wrongdoers. So why is it that you guys should come now and cover your faces? Why? For ages, black folks used to be banned from having locks to go to school, for have their hair braided, for dressing some ways, from wearing hoodie, for have their pants down their ass, all kind of stuff was scrutinized with the black community and other religion. So why are you coming to a first world country and you need to bring your religion to a first world country and the whole country? I believe that if you believe in these kind of prayers, I believe it's rightfully for you to do it in your household, in your church. Not for you to be leaving class to go and pray in a prayer room. Not for you to be leaving your workstation, wherever you work, and to go and pray. It's unfair. All right? 1 second. It's unfair. Right? Not for you to go everywhere and everything's halal, 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 halal. And at times, some of these people don't have no respect and manners. And what we notice again about these kind of people, they hardly want to work for nobody else. They're like the Chinese folks. They don't want to work for anybody else, but everybody else to work for them. And if you do go to their business of establishment, no English. They speak in their language, pass you, go and come, pass you, go and come. You be like, what the hell? You don't know if they're talking about you or talking with you. All of that, the government should come and ban as well. If you're working in a public and you have a business in public, you're not supposed to be speaking your language. The last time I checked, you're supposed to speak English. So we could understand. Even my workplace, if you ever dare speak no other language, man, you'll be suspended going home, man. You gotta speak English so everybody could understand you. When you can go forward to speak in your language, we don't know what you're capable of. All right? So that's what I'm saying. We're not saying don't practice your religion. We're not saying don't come full force or full-fledged Muslim. We're saying it's a public space. Everybody have a right of freedom. So you should not be praying in the public space. You should not be taking your mat and going in the park and praying. You should not be leaving your classroom to go in a prayer room to go sit and pray. You shouldn't be leaving your work post or where you work office or wherever you work to go and pray. It's not fair for the public. So I agree. Round of applause for the government. Whoever thinks it's racist, oh well. Everybody have a right. Remember Rastafarian is a religion. And if they're coming to the airport, they have to take off their turban. There will be frisk and search. Take off that turban. Who cares if you're Rastafarian? And Rastafarian was wearing turban for the longest time before we hear about the Muslim community. And they're not allowed to wear their turban when they're coming to the airport. But the Muslim and the Indians is allowed to keep on their turban when they're coming to the airport. You're not allowed to touch them. Yes? They're also allowed to walk around in public with a knife on their persons, and you can't even take it off of them because it's religious use. But go out there as a regular person in the public with a knife longer than the palm of your hands and see if you don't go down in a jail. So why they have rights more than everybody else? Let me go there. Why do they have rights more than everybody else? And why is it fair that you open a business in the public space and you're speaking in your language? All of that they should come and ban too. Right? The way I see it, if you're speaking English and everybody come to you in the public space, why are you speaking something else? That's the way I see it. All right? The other day I went somewhere, and I won't say where, And by the time I get to the guy and ask, do you do this? Do you do that? He was speaking his language. Everybody coming there speaking his language. You're the only outsider one in that place that I went. All right? And their people, when they come in, they have no respect. All they do is just stare at you like this. Stare at you, stare at you, stare at you, stare at you like you're in, like you're an alien or something. Because a lot of time they don't have no respect for nobody else, they claim, allegedly. You understand? No respect. And they don't want to work for anyone. They work for themselves. All right? So the way I see it, no prayer in the public. And I could agree. I could agree totally, guys. It's only fear. All right? Everybody have a religion out here, but a lot of people don't practice that in public. Okay? So it's a big extent. And for me, it's okay. All right? So let's get there.
Reid Hoffman is one of Silicon Valley's most respected visionaries.
Are not temple or church.
That's it.
I honestly don't know what it's trying to achieve.
The Quebec government is tightening its secularism rules in a new bill tabled Thursday. The new rules would ban prayer rooms at universities and cégeps, as well as restrict the offering of religion-based meals. The new rules would also ban street prayers, as well as restrict the ability for daycare educators to wear religious symbols.
Don't blame them. Good for you.
Safnoon Rizwan is the president of Dawson College's Muslim Student Association. He says his school is one of the few where Christian, Jewish, and Muslim students all share designated prayer spaces.
And not only that, they have this practice that no matter what sink, even if you don't have to, even if you're not supposed to wash your hand in the sink, they wash your hand in the sink and I'll spit in at the sink. Remember I told you. So not only that, they need to talk about some other things. Why should you be doing this in the public spaces? Why? Why? Why should we be walking and when we look, you see all of this? Why? It's crazy to me, but nevertheless.
But under the new law, that setup could vanish overnight.
You have a lot of people that are coming to the prayer space every single day, and now they will have to find other places, undesignated places
at their home.
One metro station away at Concordia University, Muslim students say they fear losing the campus's prayer room that accommodates at least 500 students a day.
There is no problem. The government here is creating a new problem by removing us.
Secularism Minister Jean-François Roberge is promising a grandfather clause for daycare workers affected by the ban.
Drop
it. The
it.
minister pitched the Thursday law known as Bill 9 as an upgraded sequel to the province's Bill 21.
Thank
the
you.
2019 law banning religious symbols for teachers, police, and judges. Roberge insists the new rules match what Quebecers want.
That's it.
We wanted to accommodate.
Majority carry the vote. We're tired to accommodate people and they don't accommodate us. We have a right. And we have a charter rights here. So at the end of the day, you cannot be bringing your religion and comport on us because that's not what we believe in. There's Christianity out there. There's Catholics out here. There's Muslim out there. There's all kind of religion out here. But a lot of us are not practicing that shit in public. So why should you come to a first world country and want to practice your religion and people in the public? It's not right. And I could agree. And I agree totally the way I see it, right?
And accommodate. We went too far. And people in Quebec said, really?
Yeah.
We want this?
I don't understand what he really means by that because, again, it's not affecting them.
The new law comes a month after Bill 94, which barred face coverings for students. Roberge took to X on the eve of tabling the new bill in a video of himself writing, "This is how we live in Quebec," on National Assembly stationery, captioned Secularism 2.0. The minister says he's confident schools across the province will comply.
The fact that we gave 3 years shows that we want the reflection to be done.
With an election a year away and François Legault's CAQ tanking in the polls, analysts like Daniel Bellan say the party is returning to a reliable pressure point.
The base of the CQ, they love it. They want more secularism.
And after months of political missteps, Bellan says the government is in dire need of a smokescreen.
I think it's more of a diversion attempt or an attempt to change the conversation.
It does make us anxious and...
In Montreal, Zachary Chung, City News.
What if you can create?
So I totally agree, people. No doubt, I totally agree. I just feel like your religion should stay at home. The way I see it, I just believe that if you're in public, you should not cover up your face because nobody else is not covering up their face. When you cover up your face with a scarf, by the time you get in a warm place, you take it off. So why should you have your hijab all over your damn face and all over? We want to see your face. It's simple. We want to see what you look like. All right? Seriously. So this is
Much like Bill 21, its counterpart, Bill 9, is stirring up a lot of reaction, including at Concordia University. The Muslim Student Association is concerned about losing its prayer room, they say has existed since the 70s.
That prayer space is not only like a place where people just go to pray, it's a safe space for thousands of numbers of students. That prayer space is used by more than 500 people every single day and serving the 5,000 community here in Concordia.
If it's not only a prayer room, a safe place from what? Safe place from who? Who's bothering them when they're in school? What safe place? So your home is not a safe place? Your backyard is not a safe place? Your basement is not a safe place? And your church is and your temple is not a safe place? But a room in a public space is a safe place. May that make sense for me? Kiss me teeth and pause. Anyways.
Bill 9 would prohibit the use of public roads and public parks.
Thank God.
Religious practice without authorization of the municipality. Anglican Bishop Bruce Myers says that could pose a problem for the church.
We have processions that take place. For example, here in Quebec City, there's a Good Friday walk among all of the different Christian churches in the old city. These have been going on in some cases for not just years, but decades. And it would seem, if this bill becomes law, that we're now going to have to, on every separate occasion, seek permission from the local municipality.
Yeah, you should.
Hope that it's approved.
But there are pros.
You should be seeking permission from the government. Same like if you want to keep an event in the public. Same like if you want to march and go out here and have a speaker and all of that. You gotta ask the city for permission because you guys are not the only one that live in the city or live in the community, and we all have rights. Since you guys are singing that we're infringing on your rights, so we don't want to see any prayer in the public spaces. That's all I'm saying.
Secular groups who applaud Bill 9, like the Mouvement Laïque Québécois, who says it's satisfied with Bill 9. Lawyer Guillaume Rousseau, who co-chaired a committee that looked into how Quebec could strengthen secularism, says Bill 9 is just the next step after Bill 21.
What we discovered with the committee is that it's not clear for employees on the ground what does religious neutrality means, what separation of church and state means. So they needed more guidance, they needed more precise rules, and that's what the bill is proposing to implement.
The Canadian Civil Liberties Association is highly critical of Bill 9, including...
Thank you.
All Quebecers have the constitutional right together to express their thoughts, opinions, and beliefs in public, including through prayer.
The association would not confirm if it plans to challenge Bill 9 in court, only mentioning that all options are on the table. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
So the way I see it, shouldn't be no prayer in the public spaces. That's all I'm saying, folks. I think when you pray at your house, like how I get up and I pray, I didn't come on the live and pray. All I said that God, most of the time I would say, without God, where would we be? Right? Go to God first. Am I putting my religion on someone? No. Am I a Christian? No. Do I go to church sometime? Hell yeah. Do I pray to God? Obviously. But for me to come out every day to put it on the public, it's crazy to me. All right? So no prayer in the public spaces. No hijab covering your face all over in the public spaces. No religious symbols or anything on your persons if you're a lawyer, if you're a judge, if you're working in the hospital or in the daycares. I totally agree. Your culture, your religion should stay at your yard among your family. Your prayer is supposed to be praying before you come to the workplace, especially in a public space where everybody has a right. Totally agree, people. Seriously. All right? Let's move on quick because I got to run. All right? So there was a situation where a mother went to go have a baby and the nurse wasn't so decent. You guys know allegedly, that they claim say, well, I wouldn't say allegedly. You guys know that it's the risk of a black woman having children nowadays days is a great risk. You guys know that the rate of black women dying in childbirth, it's a great risk. It's out there in the public, it's out there in papers, it's out everywhere, so I'm not making any stories. But when you're feeling pain and contraction and you go to the hospital to have baby and you have a mother who's going through contraction and waiting in a waiting room because you don't give a shit, you lost your job. So let's get there. Okay, let's get there for a second.
There are new developments tonight after a viral video of a pregnant woman in labor at a Mesquite hospital became public.
Dallas Regional Medical Center officials tell Fox 4 a staff member captured on video at her computer as the pregnant woman screamed in agony is now off the job. The hospital says it's also training employees to recognize signs of imminent delivery, as well as training on empathy and compassionate care. So all this comes shortly after lawyers for the woman sent the hospital a letter demanding a meeting. Fox 4's David Santendry spoke to the attorney and has more on the hospital investigation.
We're not surprised.
By now, you might have seen the viral video.
Georgia.
Kiara Jones in painful, active labor at Dallas Regional Medical Center in Mesquite on November 11th, while a hospital staffer sits at a computer nearby.
It's clear that she's in a great deal of pain and that she is.
You know why? Because a black woman's supposed to feel pain more than anybody else. Yeah. We're not surprised. These things happen so common in a doctor's office. These things happen so common where people believe that we're hard like rock. These things happen in workplaces that people believe that you're supposed to work more than everybody else and compensate even less. These things been happening for a very long time where a black woman die in the rate of childbirth because nobody don't give a shit. Okay? So when I see this, I'm not surprised. It's been out here in the paper for a while. So let's continue. Okay? Let's continue.
In the end stages of labor, that she's going to have a baby imminently.
Attorney Sarah Reich now represents Jones.
She ends up delivering in the waiting room of the hospital because they refuse to provide her with medical care, even though she is clearly experiencing an emergent medical event.
Yep, racism.
Last Wednesday, Reich's law firm sent a letter to Dallas Regional Medical Center's CEO, Chief Nursing Officer, and General Counsel asking for a meeting.
We're seeking answers.
Reich says no one has responded to the letter.
Why did this happen? Why was she in the reception area and not treated when she was clearly in active labor? What is the hospital doing to make changes? How are they going to avoid this happening?
They don't care she's black. What do they care? See?
Jones's mother recorded the video. The post of the recording claims Jones waited more than 30 minutes, and her son was born 12 minutes after what's seen on video.
I bet you I'll listen next time.
At one point, Jones can no longer sit still because of labor pain.
See it there? Jesus Christ.
And they refuse to admit her.
So Jones and her son are now home from the hospital. And after that video of theirs went viral, 2 Texas state lawmakers met with Mesquite city leaders, as well as hospital administration and staff in an effort to get some answers. As for Jones's legal team, they are hoping this story sparks some sort of law change. They're also trying to get monetary relief for their client, but at this point in time, a civil lawsuit has not been filed.
The wellness of mothers is something everyone should care about.
Yeah, when you're black, that's how they deal with you, bro. At times. The woman is clearly in labor. You're sitting down there and the mom have to ask you, do you do this to everybody or only the black ones? So some of these animals that get into these practice, they're only there for the money. They don't give a shit. And a lot of them believe that black women and black people can stand more pain than others. From slavery days until now, they have those kind of racist practice, allegedly. So we just have to kiss our teeth and pass. Are we surprised? Not at all.
And we're seeking accountability.
Georgia.
We're seeking justice. We're seeking change.
Reporting, David Santendry.
Okay.
For news.
There are new developments tonight after a viral...
So we're not surprised, guys. These things happen all the time. Not surprised at all. This shit happens all the time, so we're not surprised. Okay, guys? Where I'm at. So, from there, guys, we want to talk about microplastic in the brain. Let's go there for a second, and I'm going to hop off of this live. All right? Let's go here.
Politicians, advocacy groups, and governors from across the Midwest and country, including Governor Pritzker, are calling on the EPA to jumpstart a water monitoring program to track microplastics in the water that you drink. Research telling the I-Team today, while we don't know exact levels in drinking water because there is no program to measure them on the federal or local level, their magnitude in the environment has sharply increased. Here in the
Plastic in your water. Jaja.
Tiny pieces of plastic so small you can barely see them with the naked eye. These came from the bellies of fish in the Great Lakes.
Based upon how it absorbs the light, you get a fingerprint.
They're small enough to ingest if they're in water, in food, or floating in the air, which Loyola biologist and microplastics researcher Tim Holine says they are, and we all most likely do. The ABC 7
So we're here drinking microplastic, people.
Microplastics and human exposure to them for nearly a decade. In fact, Holine says microplastics in the environment have been increasing exponentially since the mid-1900s.
We were able to go to the Field Museum and pick out some fish specimens that had been collected from local rivers over the past 100 years. And what we found was there was no microplastic in their guts before about the 1950s. After that, we saw the microplastic, and it increased in an accelerating fashion.
But while scientific research proliferation of microplastics in water, there's still no Illinois or federal surveillance program to track levels in drinking water, which is why Food and Water Watch and governors from across the U.S., including here in Illinois, are add microplastics to pollution monitoring rules under the Safe Drinking Water Act.
We're seeing increasing amounts of microplastics and other chemical contaminants
in the water,
in our drinking water, in our Great Lakes, and it's a substantial concern.
Andrea Densham is the senior policy advisor with Alliance for the Great Lakes and says creating a program to measure microplastic levels in water that we drink is vital to public health.
We're finding in human brains, lungs, and in the bloodstream.
I
think what we have is an emerging crisis.
There is growing scientific evidence that ingesting plastics may link
plastic in our brain, in our food, and everything, guys. Jaja. Imagine that. Could you imagine, guys? So we're drinking water, and we're not drinking only water, we're drinking microplastic. Jaja.
Health problems. Holine says they can mimic hormones, and some may even cause cancer.
See?
But he says surveillance is a tall order because the plastic particles are so complex.
And they're very small, you can't see it.
Measure it, and one statement about its physiological impacts is much harder for such a large group of materials.
California is the only state to implement its own microplastics monitoring.
Jesus, sometimes we have to be aware of the food and stuff we're out here drinking, but what can we say? Okay, guys? So that was the content for today. I'm not going to go any further. I got to run. I have a few more things that I want to discuss, but I'm going to leave it for another content and all of that. Now, remember I told you that James Comey was the prosecutor in Diddy's case. Her father was James Comey, right? Well, as you guys know, James Comey, drama federal court judge, issues some kind of thing that you have to leave Comey alone. You know that they've been trying to prosecute Comey for a long time, James Comey. So let's get there quick and fast, and we're going to wrap up this live.
Chief. In a sharply worded order, Judge Kalar Kotilli granted Richmond a temporary restraining order, blocking the DOJ from accessing or using material extracted from his electronic devices during earlier investigations in 2019 and 2020. She wrote, "The court concludes that Petitioner Richmond is entitled to a narrow temporary restraining order to preserve the status quo while the court evaluates his motion for return of property." She added that the facts presented weigh in favor of entering a prompt temporary order before the government has filed a response.
Jaja.
The Fourth Amendment at the center. Richmond, a law professor and former attorney for Comey, had sued the government, alleging prosecutors breached his Fourth Amendment rights by seizing data and maintaining a full copy of his personal files without a warrant. The judge signaled those arguments were likely to succeed.
So the government out here all the time, I take people's stuff without a warrant. And the only person that the judge favors and the law favors is Comey, the ex-FBI. Oh, privilege. But what can I say?
Writing that Richmond had shown evidence the government violated his Fourth Amendment right by retaining a complete copy of all files on his personal computer and searching that image without a warrant. In response, the court ordered the Justice Department to identify, segregate, and secure all materials seized from Richmond's devices.
Oh my.
Prosecutors were barred from opening, accessing, or using any of the files without explicit court approval.
Hear this.
And were told to comply by noon on Monday. This directly impacted evidence prosecutors had previously relied upon when indicting Comey on allegations of false statements and obstructing Congress tied to his 2020 testimony about unauthorized FBI leaks to the press. Comey, Clinton, and the 2016 connection. Earlier filings showed Richmond, once designated a special employee of the FBI, had been accused of communicating with reporters about inquiries linked to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and her election loss to Donald Trump. The DOJ leaned heavily on that digital evidence in the discarded prosecution. But with Satter's ruling, that window closed, at least temporarily, until the judge completes her full review.
So they're not allowed to take none of his personal information out of the phone because they never had a warrant and it's barred. We wish everybody else will go to court. The judge can say, well, you took up their stuff out of their cell phone and their laptop and you never got a warrant, so you're not allowed to use it. A lot of people would like to come to that conclusion, but I guess not. When you're privileged, you're privileged. So call me, skip and hop another terror of prosecution when they cannot use his personal stuff without a warrant. I never heard anything like that. But when you're privileged, law don't abide by you or you don't abide by the law. The last time I checked, kiss my teeth and pass. Let's wrap up this live quick and fast. I want to leave this with you guys. This is your Monday morning reminder that you can handle whatever this week throws at you. All right? Then I'm going to drop this. I'm going to drop this and say good morning Monday. 52 devotion of your year. Okay, guys? So at the end of the day, when you really think about it, guys, catch you guys another time. All right? And if you guys don't see me tomorrow, maybe that I'm extremely busy anyway. Because you guys know Christmas is around the corner. And I got a lot of things to do, running around and stuff like that. I got a couple cake orders that I got to fill and stuff like that. And I'm working and then the business and the kids and it's nonstop. So I'll be extremely busy, but I will try to come and give you guys a content now and then. Rather maybe short content, but I will always promise to say, let me give you guys your content for the daily week or for the week anyway. But guys, I hope you guys are doing your decoration and stuff for Christmas already. And hopefully I'm going to put up my tree sometime this week. And all of that, guys, all my decor outside is already finished and stuff like that. So it's just been busy and stuff like that. But I gotta go. So I'll catch you guys another time with a content or two. Bye.